So I have let chapters of solo leveling build up for the past few weeks because I wanted to experience it with a binge read, and holy crap, what I have missed. What has been happening within the story. So this ant that our characters is fighting is super scary. And it's obvious that I believe the writer of this arc is probably heavily inspired by the Chimera Ant arc of Hunter x Hunter. Now, in terms of the presentation of something gaining knowledge and sentience from consuming others, it's not the first time it's been done. Hunter x Hunter didn't start that theme, but it just, the way you see the ant walk past all of our S-rank hunters and then just view his mother and then walks back in anger. It reminds me a lot of Meryl when he first laid his eyes on Komugi and what happened to her, and thanks to what Netero and all of them did. I really think that the author of this series is heavily inspired by Hunter x Hunter. I could be wrong, but it seems like there is a lot of references or nods to it that seems very similar, which is not necessarily a bad thing. And so, I do think that, this makes me appreciate this arc even more just because of those little elements. But, getting on topic though, the ants. It was very apparent that this ant was probably going to be very strong. And to kind of clarify, I stopped reading for a while as soon as the ant popped up amongst the S ranks, and we didn't really know what happened next. We just know that this ant was incredibly strong, very different, popped up, and that was it. That's the last time I read it. And then I caught up to where we're at right now with the latest chapter. So, the ant has demonstrated its strength, and it's basically concreted itself as stronger than our S-rank hunters of Korea, which is pretty ridiculous, because regardless of there being stronger hunters out there, we do know that S-rank is kind of like near the pinnacle of what the world has to offer, and this ant creature pretty much being stronger than an entire group of S-rank hunters is pretty insane. Now, granted, we do know that these S-rank hunters that have been fighting within this ant hive has basically been fighting a boss already, the Ant Queen, and they really didn't have much rest, and then they were jumped by this ant, so, there hasn't been a lot of preparation for this. It was kind of like a sudden second boss, one after another, and those are very hard in games. So, it makes sense why they would struggle and get beat. Regardless, though, I don't even think if they were probably full-powered, that they would probably be able to even stand up against the creature because of what it did to Goto in the upcoming chapters after it was introduced. So Goto, we've seen him built up for a while now. We saw that, Jin scared him in their brief little fighting session, and, he saw death itself before him. We know that Jin was obviously stronger than Goto, but we do know that Goto was very strong. He was incredibly powerful, maybe not as strong as Jin, but he was definitely incredibly powerful. And we get to see kind of where he stacks up with the ants, and the ant makes such quick work of Goto that it's honestly not even a fight. It's more of just a baby seal versus a club. That's pretty much what it was. I'm just like, yikes. So, Goto got destroyed, and all of the S-rank hunters got destroyed on the island, besides two that it seems like they might be escaping, but overall, every S-rank hunter besides Jin has pretty much been demolished. Some of the S-ranks on the Korean side are alive, two are alive on the Japanese side, so it's kind of a bloodbath. A lot of people have died, and, it's a likely possibility maybe Jin could potentially resurrect maybe some of the S-ranks. Who really knows? Maybe he might look into some of them and be like, let's resurrect one of them, add them to my army, arise, and all that. That'd be pretty cool if he did that. But, okay, let's get into the topic. Where does Jin currently stand in terms of strength? Where does the ant currently stand? And where is the strength level of a national level hunter? So, we see that this entire dungeon raid, what was happening on this island, was being used to, give publicity to Goto becoming a national rank hunter. Now, this pretty much you could easily assume is a higher rank than a S rank, which is probably incredibly powerful. It's in an entirely different league from, let's say, an S rank. An S rank is basically like probably a baby in comparison. So it starts to make you wonder, does this mean that Jin is a national rank hunter? Or is he even beyond what a national rank hunter is already? That's a question that is popping up in my head after reading these latest chapters. But to back up though, let's talk about the Ant's power. So the Ant clearly destroyed S ranks, so clearly this Ant is above S rank, way beyond the normal S ranks that would fight. And if it wasn't for Jin popping up, it would be an entire slaughter. 100% fatality, which is pretty bad. So the Ant is basically described as being strong or even stronger than the Demon King that Jin fought an arc or so ago, which is kind of saying a lot, because as I talked about when I was reviewing the Demon King arc, is that the Demon King is always kind of like a final boss of a story. This is common sense. When you read fantasy stories or watch fantasy stories, a Demon King is essentially the final boss, unless the Demon King's an ally, but you know, there's stories like that nowadays. But we're talking about the straight up normal Demon Kings that are villains, so normally they're final bosses. You don't see them, you know, actually having anything stronger than them, unless there's like a son of the Demon King or something. But, you know, this right here, with the Ant being strong as or even stronger than the Demon King, says a lot. That we're getting into the realm of these enemies that Jin is fighting is so beyond final in-game boss, it really does make me wonder what is the final boss of the series. Now, I've talked about it already, that it could potentially be the system. I don't know, but I have a feeling that maybe the system one day will be a boss or something, or an enemy, just because of how mysterious it really is. But regardless, I do think that at this time, you know, the Ant's power is on a level that I think most or all of the hunters maybe in the world could not really face if Jin wasn't here. I think even national rank hunters would probably get demolished if it wasn't for Jin popping up. Because according to what we saw from this chapter, the Ant was looking for a king. He was like, where is your king? Where is your king? And I highly doubt this Ant's rampage would have stopped right then and there after, let's say, killing all the S ranks. It probably would have put its attention towards others around the world, start scavenging, looking around, building up its power, its knowledge, and demolishing everyone on the entire world. I have a feeling something like that potentially would happen. So it would fundamentally be the end of the entire planet if Jin probably did not exist. So this is one of those times where Jin, thanks to him being so strong, this is the type of threat that he's destined to fight. And potentially one day there's going to be something very stronger than it. And it starts to make you wonder, though, what else is going to be able to stand with Jin? Now, obviously the series is called Solo Leveling, so Jin is never going to, you know, receive help. But it's a big thing I've always talked about when it comes to this series. One of the things I want this series to do is also give development and focus on other side characters, other S ranks, B ranks, whatever. And I know Jin is cool and all, he's a great character, I love his fighting style and all that, I love Necromancers, it's really cool. But I would just really love other characters also to have the spotlight alongside of him, even if he is a solo leveler. And so, I think that if Jin continues to get more and more powerful, we could have a power creep go on to where all these other characters will become essentially useless, so irrelevant that they wouldn't be able to do anything whatsoever against their opponents, and only Jin would be able to be the one to stop it. So I just hope it doesn't devolve into that situation, but we'll see where it goes. I have good faith in this series. It's been fantastic so far since the very beginning, so I don't think it's going to fall off or anything. I just think that there needs to be some more focus on some side characters. So, okay. Anyways, Jin right now seems to be perfectly in line and balanced with the Ant. He's pretty much slightly stronger than the Ant. Like, every time we saw them clash, Jin was slightly physically stronger, slightly faster. He was able to be completely immune to the Ant's entirety of his poison, and even when the Ant decided to use his army to help him out, his Ant army, Jin just used his army to rise, and then also to turn the corpses of the Ant's army into his very own. So the Ant is obviously losing in every little aspect of the fight. So I feel like this is going to be a very interesting conclusion, and I do really wonder if Jin is going to get a hold of the Ants as a potential body, as a soldier. That would be really freaking cool if he's able to get one of those soldiers and turn them into one of his minions after he finishes his opponent. And another thing too is what's really going to happen with the Japanese as well. When you really think about it, they were going to leave everybody else on the island and say, oh, they're dead, etc., and gain publicity and all that. And I just like, or is anyone going to find out about that? Is anyone going to find out what they were going to do to them? If they do find out, what's going to be said, because a lot of life has already been lost regardless. So it's kind of scummy to see what they were trying to do and weaken the entirety of Korea because they just wanted to be a stronger nation like Japan did. So I'm just curious to see how that's gonna, go down. But I want to leave it at that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the, bell icon down below. Because for some reason, even if you click subscribe, you don't always get notified. So if you want to get notified, hit that bell icon. And with that, Chibi out.